Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka geekxxchic, and I'm back with another reaction to The Gifted. We are now on episode 7, which is called No Mercy. I love that term. And I also love the band from the 90s. It's okay if you don't remember who it is. It's okay. So, last episode, really good one as far as character development. We had a lot of action in that episode as well. The big developments that came out of that is that the underground, as we know it, is pretty much done, just because there was a huge roundup by the purifiers led by Jace that basically resulted in a bunch of them being taken back to possibly jail or other types of facilities. We needlessly lost one of the underground in Shatter. We also had Reed use his powers in aid of helping some of the primary mutants escape, but of course, as we saw at the end of the episode, he was not able to disengage the powers and he's having a bit of a meltdown, so that wasn't good. We also learned a little bit more about Rebecca's character, that she's potentially a little bit nuts. I'm gonna hold off a little bit more judgment because we don't know the situation around why her family was killed. There may be some stuff we don't know. I'm hoping that the show gives us a little bit more background around what happened with that situation instead of kind of turning into a crazy mustache-twirling villain, but we'll have to find out. And then we got some backstory on the Stepford Cuckoos, or the sisters, the triplets. We found out that they are clones, indeed clones, and that they were created by Creed Industries, which is the bank that is the subject of the big heist that the Inner Circle has been planning for the last little while here. So a lot of information was given to us as far as some plot pieces. We still don't have the big overall long-term plot yet, but we definitely have way more than we've had since the beginning of the season. And considering we're 7 episodes in, we definitely needed some more info. So with this episode, No Mercy, it's really hard to know what this could mean. When I hear No Mercy, I feel like that's typically when people are ready to do something and it's going to be bold and it's going to be crazy, and they recognize the fact that it could be something where you got to be pretty ruthless about it. But anyways, we're not going to know what it means without watching the episode. So without further ado, let's get into it and we will chat about it later. Okay? Boop.
Folks who get their applications looked at are the ones with no X gene in their families. So we have got to let the arrivals know that
Reva.
it's our hood. All right. Let's print out some flyers. Start on St. Lawrence and work our way west. Let's go.
Open-minded Reva. It did exist once. Oh, is this the flashback story Reva was talking about?
I was in your business. Shut up!
Don't touch her!
Oh, okay. Here comes the shiv. Call 911, babe. 911. Okay. Or cry over the body. How do you know? Reva was telling the truth about that story. Wasn't sure till now.
Tomorrow is a big day.
Yeah, that violence is not an option I don't think is going to work for crazy Rebecca. Crazy Becky?
I'll be right there. I got your back.
So
Andrew, your roots are starting to show. You need to touch up, sir.
Oh.
yeah.
Make sure everything is ready for tonight. I can't be late for dinner.
Okay, girl, don't let us mess up your dinner plans. You can't melt water, right? Reed, for God, stop it! Stop it!
Most of the hospitals around here don't treat mutants at all.
True.
Never mind one who
Destroys everything.
destroys everything he does.
Yeah. Sorry, Riri.
I'm gonna go talk to the others.
Don't you have drugs? I mean, you really could put him into a coma. I was joking last week, but maybe not.
In this condition?
Marcos, Clarice, and I will organize transportation.
This is one of those times where I feel like those callers would actually be helpful. Until he figures it out, you know?
If I could just talk to my wife for like 2
See, you're who? No. Ex, baby.
That's not a good idea.
I don't give a damn.
It's important. I
Creed?
need to know that tonight is just between us.
Don't touch that hand. It's pure evil. Oh, men are such suckers.
Check this out. My youngest Kai, you do this.
That's right. Guilt her. If she's even capable of it anymore.
That for the first time in 2 years, Daddy is smiling again.
Oh, Reva, you cold-hearted witch.
So where'd you park?
Actually, right there.
In this big
That's funny.
vehicle that's
What?
human-sized.
You've never struck me as
In the
an
trunk.
SUV type.
My suit, Romeo.
What is this?
Right?
Who are you?
He's like, I'm not that kind of freak.
They'll catch me.
Do not concern yourself with that. We will take care of you.
How? The way you've taken care of everyone else who's helped you, Reva?
And if I don't?
Think of your boys.
You're dead either way.
If something happens to me, look, you said you would do anything to protect her.
Wow. So if something happens to you, God forbid she be with her father, let's put her with a psychotic telepath. That's a great idea. You are the best mom ever, Lorna.
There's things about as reinforced as it can be and still roll.
You know Reed can melt right through that like butter, right?
I'm gonna grab some more scrap metal to fortify the clinic.
You just keep being hot, John. You just keep being hot.
Loyalties. From the guy who ran off to moonlight with the drug cartel, with the baby mama in the inner circle.
Okay. It's like that.
Movement needs more men like you out in front, inspiring people.
It's everything Jace ever wanted to hear. Just keep feeding him.
I have a plan to help the people take back America.
Oh,
But I need your help.
yes, Jace. Fall deeper into the pits of hell. Don't touch anything, Reed. Stop it. Stop it. God. Watch that disintegrate. Put it down. Knew it. Knew it. You should have known better, Reed.
I'm fine.
You know what we're dealing with now. If anything happens, I'll protect you.
Yeah, she can shield you, dude. Oh, shut up, Reed. Take the help.
Yeah, okay.
I wonder if he put his hands on his face when it's like that, if it would just automatically shave from him.
You will put this in the computer in your office, and then you will wait for us.
That brother man's gonna die.
He's gonna crush that vault.
And anybody else, I feel like.
Serious. I believe in you.
Oh, God. No one cares, Andrew.
Ugh. You lovebirds ready?
Thank you. My sentence exactly, Lorna. Who walks into a bank like that? No one. Nobody. Why does her hands have to be out when she uses her powers? Is it to open up her chest? Yep, look at Rebecca's face. She's getting hyped to kill.
But this country has a serious problem.
Ugh.
Solving it is gonna take a man like you.
Hearing this is so triggering. God.
True.
Really gonna let the workers go, as opposed to what? I don't know. I mean, they did all this crap to mutants, and then they just get to go home.
There we go.
I mean, seriously, they're humans.
Cray cray, Becky's out. So this vault's made out of Wolverine's bones. Interesting. Hello, handsome.
Inner circle beating us at our own game, and people are losing faith.
True. All ticks. I can't agree. I can't disagree with any of this.
I was down there. I saw something between them. Just ask.
Trust Marcos.
That's it.
He knows all about girlfriends who go astray. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this bed of metal. Rest well, sir. Ow! Jeez. You guys can at least get him a mattress? Jeez.
Yeah, the plans were right. It's 15 feet back, mounted into solid bedrock. Open at the back. You're up, kid.
That was impressive. I love seeing Lorna's powers work like that. First time.
I think I can turn it around.
Oh, really? Can you hurry up? Just pretend it's your family.
You remember what it was like in the hospital? How angry you were?
Oh yeah, fuel it with rage. That's so much healthier for a mental patient.
You have to channel that.
You're loading a gun here, Andy, that you really can't control. Yep, even Lorna knows it. So what, he's having nightmares now too? Jeez, this is full spectrum.
Okay.
Just like he's a bomb. You okay, baby? Just breathe. All right.
But is there anything I should know about the Morlocks?
Right?
You and her.
Mm-hmm. Speak up, girl.
You stole for him without telling me? Why?
Because he's actually helping mutants.
Oh.
Better than we are these days.
That's okay. You already know he's feeling bad. Just give another blow to that confidence.
You don't
Okay.
have to hide from me.
losing Atlanta, the inner circle, kicking our asses. You're falling apart.
Wow.
You're getting worse. The real risk is doing nothing.
Interesting. So maybe his dad's experiments have jacked up his powers in a way that he can't control them at all.
We just put the video out. We've drained over $100 million in account balances so far. And I got the baby to sleep. Not a bad day's work. I'll see you soon.
Wow. Look at the parallel between these two groups.
We're done here.
All of you, you'll all burn for this. I hope you rot
Here she
yourself.
goes.
We are done here.
She's gonna turn that whole room inside out. Yep. Knew this was happening. Why is no one watching her? Seriously. Reva, where's your scream now? Yeah, okay.
What did you do?
Yep. Aren't you happy with your little plan, Reva?
Now!
Oh, don't look shocked, Reva. Come on now. You can't play with a loaded gun and not expect a round to go off. Okay, well, that was episode 7 called No Mercy. And you know what? I called it. It would be Rebecca. I said it from the get-go that she was gonna be the loose cannon that Reva was not anticipating. The wild card she didn't calculate enough for in her ambition. And here we are. Wow. Well, that was a decent episode for sure. It was a little bit slower. I kind of feel like it was a bit of filler. I feel like we could have done a little bit more. I mean, it was nice to see at least this heist happen since it was referenced in the last 2 episodes. But again, we still don't have a big idea of what, or not a big idea. We don't have a full picture, or I feel like even fuller picture of where Reva's long-term vision is. We know that this heist had to happen for the money, but it seems like that's the only thing that we've really had them work on since the season started. Everything they seem to be working on, like getting Andy, was to get into this safe. So I just wonder how much further this plan is, or if Reva even knows what the next steps are in this plan, because everything so far seemed like it was all leading up to this heist. And now that it's happened, and there's a giant monkey wrench in it now, I do wonder where we're supposed to be going next with the inner circle. But anyways, let's get a little bit into this episode. There was a handful of interesting pieces as far as the characters, because there were some good character pieces in this episode. This was kind of Reva's episode in the sense of giving us a little bit more backstory on her. It wasn't really new information in the sense of she did tell Andy the story of her friend dying, and I remember at that episode I said that I wasn't 100% certain that Reva was being honest about that, or if she was just using it as a tool to manipulate Andy, or a little of both. And it turns out it was a little of both. And it looks like the Reva before that incident was more open to the idea of humans and mutants living together. Like, she seemed to be more empathetic, I guess is the word, towards humans, and realizing that not all of them were evil, and that painting them all with a giant brush of evil wasn't the right way to go. And of course we saw that her friend there did not believe that. She was kind of leaning towards where Reva is now, where it's like all humans are evil, better to shut them all down than to give any of them a chance. And we see that with this whole relationship she developed with this guy, I guess that's who the QM was the guy who was in charge of security, it sounds like, for this, or the manager of this financial institution. She developed this relationship. Obviously she cultivated it for a while in order to get him to trust her enough to be alone with her, and also believe her when he basically had to do these actions to get them into the financial records. So what I find interesting, however, is that Sage wasn't able to get past that. Sage is supposed to be like this super intelligent hacker. It seems interesting to me that they would need him for that security measure. It just, I mean, or even use the triplets, I guess. But I guess, yeah, they need to control the people in the room. So, but even, I don't know. I feel like there's a few hinks in that plan that could have made it go a lot smoother and not have involved this man. But we needed to have the sacrifice. We needed to have the dramatic effect for Reva. And obviously, again, that man was there primarily to show us as the audience that Reva's not all evil, and that she's not without any conscience, and that she does have some sort of issues with killing certain people. But the reason it doesn't ring 100% true for me is the sense that it depends on the person for Reva. Like when she said that statement of, I'm only a monster when I need to be. But again, she chose to let this man live because she had a personal affinity for him. knowing he was human, and also because she knew that it wasn't going to look good for the uprising if she killed all the people in that bank in that particular moment. But had it been any other circumstance, we know that Reva's not afraid to kill people. And if it was someone she didn't know, or she didn't have an emotional attachment to him, or if there was a way for Sage to get through that computer and not need him, she would have killed him. You get what I'm saying? So I just, like, my whole thing is, it doesn't ring true to me that she's a better person because she won't kill someone that she kind of has affection for. That just is a bias thing, right? And so that's why it doesn't ring true to me for Reva to be like, oh, no, like, for the show to be trying to show us that, she's, kind of human underneath all this. And I'm not saying she's not. I understand that every villain is the hero of their own story. I do get that Reva has a vision and that she was propelled by this horrible thing that happened to her friend right in front of her. It's not that I don't see where her justification is coming from. It's not that I don't see where her feelings and where her point of view is, but it's an extremist point of view, and I will never think that extremists is the way to go. And like I said, it just doesn't justify it or make me empathize with her anymore. And even her losing this guy in the end, like, yeah, she's upset about it because she liked this guy, but let's be real. Do you think she's sad about any of the other people in that room? Probably not. You know what I mean? Like, if anything, it's just one of those things. She's going to sleep fine tonight. I mean, if she's upset, it's going to be over this one person she had a connection to. But if she had heard that a mutant had killed a bunch of humans somewhere else, she wouldn't have batted an eyelash, right? So it just, like I said, it just doesn't ring true to me as far as trying to make Reva seem like she's softer than she is. The only thing that this might actually, the only way this might turn into something where it might mean something, in my opinion, is if we see a follow through after this episode and through the upcoming episodes of Reva really being bothered by this death, of Reva actually rethinking whether or not this ruthless approach is the only way to go, or if maybe she has gone too far or pushed the line. Now, of course, it's going to be dangerous for her to do it at this point in the game because, as I said before, I do think there's probably someone above her pulling strings, and they're not going to be happy about that. But also, if you're going to be the leader of a group, it's very important that you seem very focused and have faith in your cause, because the minute that your subordinates, I hate using that term, but the other people you're working with, if they see that you're wavering or that you're not sure, that is the first step to losing the power or the influence you have over them. So we'll see. This might, like I said, this might just only been for the sake of showing that Reva has a few more layers than what we've seen so far. But yeah, as far as me like empathizing with her, I don't, in the sense of I don't think she's any less terrible for thinking that lives are expendable for the sake of her cause. I will never agree with that. And that's the main reason why I don't agree with the Inner Circle, why I categorize them as bad. It's not it's not the vision that I have a problem with. Like, I do understand them wanting mutants to not feel oppressed or scared or hurt or any of those things anymore. I do agree with the fact that there should be a world where mutants should feel safe and not be ostracized, but I will never agree with using extreme terms like hurting other people, or, as I said, painting an entire group of people with one big brush in the name of the small percentage of them that are crap, because there are mutants that are garbage too, and you don't see Reva talking about them. One of those garbage mutants being Rebecca. So that's why I said that with the Inner Circle, the Mutant Underground has a very similar philosophy, with the difference being that they don't believe in, the separatism. But the difference is with the Mutant Underground, people can say it's being wimpy, or that they're not being aggressive enough, or that they don't believe enough. But I don't think it's wimpy to practicing empathy and having an actual love and respect for life doesn't make you weak. It takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of strength to not want to take someone's life simply because they have a hateful viewpoint that doesn't agree with something that you believe in. And lasting change in this world will never happen by returning hate for hate. So that's why the Inner Circle will not prosper. Even though they're very organized, and that's something else I'm going to get into, is how organized this heist was. Seeing their coordination and their precision in this heist was really, really cool. But all of that doesn't mean anything if where you're rooted in is hate. Hate is a uniting force, but only for destruction, not for building. And that's what Reva keeps saying is their mission, is to build a new society. You can't build something on hate. Hate is not about building, it's about tearing apart. So anyway, it was a nice, interesting look into Reva. It was nice to see her character be a little less militant and distant in this episode. We got to see a few tears in her eyes. We got to see her have moments of doubt We got to see her have moments of guilt, and that's something we haven't really seen. So it was good to have a few more layers added to her character and not just, again, have her be this overarching, cold-hearted villain without a cause. That kind of goes into when I said that the foundation of the inner circle is what's going to eventually be their downfall. The whole thing with Andy in that moment when he was with Rebecca, Cray Becky, when they were down at the safe and she was having a hard time turning it inside out because her confidence was wavering or whatever. The fact that Andy, the way he coached her through that, where he told her to look for her source of power, this is my whole issue with Andy's character right now. This is my whole issue with the way he's handled things. And I know a lot of you come for me because I come for Andy a lot. And you think it's just because I'm like trying to be like overly critical or mean to the character. Again, it's not that I don't empathize with Andy or I don't even dislike Andy in the sense of, like I said, I do think he's redeemable. He's far too young to write him off completely. But my issue with him right now, and it was brought out so beautifully in the way that he helped Cray Becky, is that he told her, instead of going to a source of like believing in herself, believing in her abilities, instead of looking for positive, altruistic reasons for her to look for her source of power, what are the two things he told her to draw on? Fear and hate. Fear and hate. He told her, focus on these horrible people, what they did to you. Think about all the pain and suffering you went through. Think about how much you wanted to hurt them. Take that anger and use it against this. That is what is fueling Andy right now. And that's why I have an issue with him and how he uses his powers. And this is why he bothers me, is because Lauren, at least, and we saw her have that little moment with her mom where she was questioning whether or not everything about her powers was evil, and again, how she felt when she was using Fenris. And the way her mother framed it by saying, but you did it because you were trying to protect people. Yes, people died, but your intent was to save all these innocent people that probably would have ended up dying or going into horrible situations that day. That's an altruistic reason to reach into yourself and dig deep for a power or a sense of strength. Andy, on the other hand, is drawing his power and his desire to grow and get stronger on fear and hatred. And those are two very dangerous emotions. And they're not emotions that are helpful or productive or, again, good for anything that's about growth. And it's very fitting that his power is tearing things apart, because that's the only thing that fear and hate do. They tear things apart. Andy will never have a steady relationship. Andy will never have a familial connection. Andy will never have anything meaningful in his life while that is what drives him. And that's what has to change. At some point, hopefully, Andy will recognize that he doesn't have to use that as his fuel for his powers. If he can recognize that his power or what he's able to do can come from a place of just being a strong person, or again, trying to fight for either protecting himself, protecting the people that he loves, or making the world a better place truly, he won't need to go to such a dark place for his strength and for his power. And the fact that he's feeding on that is exactly why he's able to be with the underground, knowing that his parents and his family are worried sick about him without even trying to contact them, why he can see his sister, blow her all to hell knowing he very well could have killed her and not even be sorry really about it, because he's like, I told you to move. Why he can be so flippant about the fact that he knows that the inner circle is killing people or hurting his friends, people who helped him and kept him alive. And that's what bothers me about Andy. Now again, he's so young, it's perfectly possible for him to course correct for that, but at this point, that is why I can't get on board with this character. So I don't know if it'll change. It may not. I mean, you got characters like Magneto, and he's always been on that path. So anyways, I'm going on a rant here, but I think it perfectly highlighted my issue with Andy, and again, fueled the fire that became that crazy, crazy moment with Becky in the bank. Now, getting into what Rebecca did in the bank, it was coming a mile away. Like, the show has not been at all subtle about showing that this girl is unbalanced, that there was something a little off with her. I don't know if that was the way they wrote it, or if the actress chose to display it that way, but yeah, it was very easy to pick up on the fact that she was not okay. As soon as she asked Lauren when they were down in the vaults about, oh, we're just gonna let this go, we're gonna leave those people alone, I'm like, she's gonna kill every last one of them. And I said it, she's gonna turn people inside out. I said it from the moment we saw her practicing in that scenario with her and Lorna and then Andy. So that whole scene, I mean, I feel like that's the only thing that was kind of clunky about this episode to me, is I feel like it was very heavy-handed with her just being so easily tipped off by one guy who was like, you're all gonna burn, like, okay, sir, shush. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that big of a deal. And it was one guy. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it would have been a little more realistic if she'd killed him and just him. Still wrong. But if she had just killed him or just did something like turned his head inside out or something like that because she didn't want to hear him anymore, I would have been like, okay, so wrong, but more believable. But the fact that she killed every last person in there and just had to go through this whole thing, and nobody, like we saw how long it took her to do that. Everyone just walked away and let her just stand there and like, I don't know, it was clunkily shot in my opinion. I feel like they could have done that in a way that seemed a little less crazy, but for the sake of plot, I feel like that major event and having it be as catastrophic as that whole room of people dying and Riva again being disobeyed on top of everything else, all of that, I think this hopefully will be a massive wake-up call for Lorna, because I know that Lorna has definitely been having doubts. We've seen that in the last few episodes, and even in the vault when she broke open the safe and she was laughing all maniacally and stuff, especially after Andy fed her that line about drawing on her hate. I saw the look on Lorna's face. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't happy about it. She's someone who knows a lot about drawing on darkness at the wrong times. And so I think Lorna recognizes right off the bat that this girl is bad news, and that this is, I think at that point even she was probably like, I'm not so sure we need to have this girl here. But anyway, I think between all of that and now that they are responsible for the deaths of all these people, I mean, Lorna has been on board with this so far because the only people that have died have been people that Lorna has deemed worthy of death, like the senator and the doctor, if he's even dead. And, you know, the inner circle she didn't know much about anyways. That really wasn't on her. But I do think that Lorna is going to have a big problem with what happened here with all those people dying. Lorna, I think, knows that this is over the line, way over the line. If Esme was there, she would have lost it. I don't know even too how did the two girls that were there not even pick up? Like, it just, I don't know. There's just way too many things about that scene that was kind of off for me. But beyond all that, I think the giant plot point that was necessary, or that it was why it was there, is to make Lorna really, this is the hard shift I think that Lorna will need to realize, the inner circle as it is not going to work. We've got to make some real changes in here. Am I in the right thing? Are we doing the right thing? Do I want to be this level of ruthless? Am I really willing to be no mercy like this? Point is, I think we're going to have Lorna have a shift as far as what she's going to continue to do for the inner circle and how she's going to proceed from now on. We've already seen fractures in her belief system in it and her belief in Riva. I think she's going to make a hard demand for Rebecca to be contained in some way. And if Riva doesn't agree to it, it's going to definitely add even more to that fracture. We're going to see Andy, I think Andy and Lorna's relationship tested as well when it comes to this, because Andy is clearly following his groin at the moment. Is he going to forgive her for this? Or not forgive, but is Andy going to be on board with what she did? You know, is she going to be able to kiss it away and have him just get over it? Is he going to agree with it? Because like I said, Andy's he's on a dark path at the moment. Maybe he's going to dig it. Maybe he's going to be like, yeah, sure, maybe we should have killed more people. Like, how Andy responds to this is going to be very critical, I think, to what path he's going to be going on going forward, because he should be deeply disturbed by and upset by what she just did. And if he's not, that'll say a lot about him. Finally, onto the stuff with the underground. That was kind of the B plot of this episode, so there wasn't a whole lot on it. We saw Reed is having some real issues with his powers. At first I thought maybe it was just because he was freaking out emotionally about it, but now I'm starting to wonder if what his father did to him by trying to suppress the gene and all the different tests he did on Reed, if maybe he somehow jacked up Reed's ability to be able to control it naturally. Like maybe something, whatever that was, that would have naturally been there for Reed to be able to turn it on and off naturally. Maybe that's broken because of what his father did, or maybe his father put in some other failsafe that's gone wrong that we don't know about. So whoever this doctor is, clearly Reed's gonna have to see them, and I'm hoping that, what I don't want, I guess, is that I don't want to see Reed lose his powers. Even though they haven't really been writing in a way that's made it feel like it's gonna work with the story right now. Like, I feel like they haven't integrated Reed's power development in a way that makes sense yet in the story, but I have faith in it because the show did a really good job of weaving everything together very nicely in season 1. So I have to think that what they're doing with Reed and the fact that they gave him powers at all is not going to become a moot point with him having them all suppressed again. But whatever happens, Reed definitely needs to get this under control because his power is just far too destructive. Like, I just keep thinking of someone like Cyclops not having his glasses and accidentally opening his eyes every so often, forgetting, and, you know, just killing somebody with his beams. That's almost how bad it is for Reed right now. He can't touch anybody. And it kind of goes back to how important, like, that moment kind of broke me a little bit when Kate touched him at the end, just risked it all and put her hands on him and just kind of like to convince him to go to this doctor. As humans, we really take for granted how important touch is. It's such a huge part of what keeps us emotionally stable and gives us what we need outside of food, water, and shelter. And Reed feeling like he, first of all, not being able to do it, but also not having it for days at a time, it really can affect your psyche. And so just seeing how he instantly calmed down and felt so much better, just that small touch from his wife, it was really kind of heartbreaking, and why it's so important for him to get this looked at and fixed. I'm interested to see where they're really going with this. I'm hoping with this trip and his seeing this doctor, we're going to finally get some gas on that story though, because I still feel like Reed's power storyline has been so backburnered and underdeveloped, and I just really want to see where we're going with that, or at least get an inkling in which direction it's going to go. And I'm hoping that this trip is going to finally bring that to the forefront and start dealing with it in a meaningful way. Other than that, we had the stuff between John and Clarice, very, very minor, but at least finally the stuff about her working for Erg has come out. I feel like the shift in Clarice's attitude feels a little bit sudden. I know that we've seen several scenes of Erg basically trash talking the underground and her relationship with John before, but we've always seen her kind of stand up to it and seem immune to it before now. But this is the first episode where we saw her getting really catty with John and kind of snappy with him and everybody else in the group. And I just feel like it felt a little jarring, and I think that's just probably editing. There might have been more scenes that they shot to make this feel smoother, but they just didn't make the final cut. But it just kind of made it seem weird that she was suddenly kind of snapping at everybody, and particularly John, especially when John was honest with her about his feelings of feeling, inadequate and defeated and all the things that he went through, like being vulnerable with all that stuff with her, and then she chose to keep her secret with Erg. He was justified in being upset with her for being secretive after he's been open, and after she was the one who had the nerve to talk to him about how important honesty was. And then of course she got defensive, because people get defensive when they know they're in the wrong and they don't like it being pointed out. And so again, I just kind of really didn't like that. That's the first time since this show began that I really disliked Clarice, was the way she acted in that moment with John, taking up more blows to his ego when he's just calling her out for being secretive, which she was, right? He wasn't accusing her of anything. He asked her, he's like, I'm asking you if you were hiding anything. I'm asking you if there's something I should know. And she finally admits it, and he's justifiably like, why would you keep that from me? And then she's, oh, well, it's not like the underground's getting anything done, is it? Like, really, Clarice? You want to kick him when you already know he's down, and then have the nerve to try to bring it around and say, oh, but I'm doing this for you because I see that you're so stressed with everything. No, Clarice, you're doing this for you. Maybe Clarice has always had some secret underlying resentment towards the mutants that don't have physical manifestations, and maybe it's all being played on by Erg. But my point is, I do like John and Clarice. I have liked them since day one, so I really don't want to see this couple fall apart over this. I mean, this is just par for the course with shows, mind you. I mean, every couple's got to go through their trials. It's just the way shows go, especially if they're going to be a long-term couple. You got to give them the angst. You got to give them the issues. And this is clearly John and Clarice's first big test. I'm just hoping it's not something we have to necessarily have to drag out the entire season. But I also feel like there's more to John. Like she mentioned that John, his disappointment, all these other things are getting to him. But again, we saw him when he was moving all that metal to surround Reed with. He looked tired, like he looked exhausted. And that, again, this, like I said, for the last few episodes, it's like we've been watching John's powers steadily decline, from not healing as fast to being affected by that gas, which I feel like is something he probably would have been able to deal with before. And now him getting physically tired with, tasks that require strength. Like, I just feel like there's something going on with his powers, and I don't know if anyone else is noticing that yet. I'm hoping someone does. Yeah, I just think there's more going on there, and I hope that Clarice can kind of get her head out of her own butt a little bit long enough to see that this isn't just about the underground being without a plan. I mean, her points were valid. The underground does not have a plan. They don't have a purpose right now. They've been taking a lot of hits, but take that all away and just focus on your man for a minute, Clarice. Like, you're doing all right now because you've never really had this level of responsibility before, but he's not. Maybe try being a supportive girlfriend right now. And maybe if he's in a better place mentally, he can be in a place to start figuring out the best thing for them to do next, instead of worrying about how he's going to keep himself together from day to day. You feel me? And then there's really nothing on poor Marcos. He's kind of been relegated to not really being dealt with, which is weird. This season feels like they don't know what to do. I think having these two separate groups is really hard. It's made it very hard for them to focus on some of these characters the way that we got in season one. We were a little spoiled in season one with our character development. Having these two separate groups is making it hard, I think, on the writers to figure out a way to bring it all together, which is why I know that at some point we're gonna have to have some kind of amalgamation if we want anything to move forward, because it's just too separate right now to be able to focus on everyone, because once again we're kind of back to Marcos just kind of lurking in the background and not saying much. He didn't do much in the last episode, and we didn't get much this, you know, we got like 3-4 sentences in this one. So that was basically the episode, guys. It was okay. As I said, I do feel it was like a little bit like filler, but we did get some information about some other characters that have been with us since the beginning of the season, like Riva and Rebecca, and some growth there. So it wasn't, you know, completely without purpose, but I do hope we're going to get more movement on some of the B plots, namely Reed, and figuring out again what this whole big goal of the Inner Circles is. I hope we get this soon, because I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm like, okay, we've waited long enough. 7 episodes is quite a bit. I need more. So what did you guys think of this episode? How are your feels? Do you think that Andy is going to be okay with what Rebecca did, or do you think it's going to be the thing that's going to make him realize that this girl is not the one? Please leave your comments below. Let me know what you're thinking, how you're feeling. Is there anything else in the episode that I should have picked up on but missed? You guys are great with that, and I love getting involved in that conversation with you. And if you like this video, guys, please click like, and if you want to see more from this geeky face, please click subscribe. Until next time,